Mrs. Green Apple, we're continuing with our ensemble track by track listen through with the song They Are. And this takes us on to a part of every Mrs. Green Apple album, or should I say just every album, that I'm always excited by, which is the part where we have no music videos, at least for a while. Not because I dislike music videos, quite the opposite. I actually really enjoy music videos and enjoy singles. I enjoy those things, except for when you are listening to an entire discography by a band. It's those album tracks where you get to hear, well, what they do in between the stuff that is just crowd pleasing. I mean, not to say these songs aren't crowd pleasing, but these tend to be the songs where you get more risks taken. Obviously, the worst case scenario is you can get filler songs where it's just a song that was probably meant to be popular but didn't hit as well as the singles on the album. But with really good bands like Mrs. Green Apple, it tends to be that this is where you find the experiments. So, this next song is called They Are. I have no idea what to expect. It's 5 minutes 30. Oh, it's a big one. So let's jump in straight away. This has been an interesting album so far. No denying. Yeah, let's just find out what we got next. No idea what to expect. We just came out of a high tempo song. Not quite punkish, but a high tempo song. So I'm intrigued to see what we get next. But let's jump in. This is They Are from Ensemble by Mrs. Green Apple.
今日もただ一人で寂しいと君の前で思ってしまうあなたのその優しい愛は僕には美しすぎるんだ
It's clarinet, right? That sound is a really distinctive woodwind instrument. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's clarinet. It's a very evocative sound to throw into the beginning of the song.
許してくれなくていい僕が愚かなままでいい心が凍えそうなんだ 温めてくれるだけでいい君の喜ぶ顔も泣きそうな瞳も僕を呼ぶ声も生きてるんだ君は僕を置いてゆくんだ僕だけ年を取らないみたいにさ今日もただ一人で寂しいと君の前で思ってしまう
I like the way we got no snare yet.
あなたのその優し
Song's
さ
building, but it's giving itself room to build even more.
神様どうか答えて
The strings, the clarinets, the pianos, the harmonies.
君を愛せていた
Still no snare.
わからないんだ名誉じゃな
Oh, there we go.
くていいお金なんかはどれいい君が上手なままがいい孤独を分かち合えればいいぎこち
Still
な
withholding that
い
beat.
キスも涙したわけも
So beautiful.
僕はさよならに慣れすぎた心のハグもプレゼントも何一つ返せていないのに今日もただ一人で寂しいと君の前で思ってしまうあなたのその優しさは僕には美しすぎる神様どうか伝えて 君に愛されたことに気づいたんだ
It's got such an old school vibe to it again. He changed bridge, nice. You can feel we're building up to a big crescendo. I love it. I want him to ride this energy, but I think he's going to do a breakdown at the beginning of the last chorus, isn't he? He's going to do a breakdown. No breakdown! Love it, love it. The word I want to use is... The word I want to use is charming. Oh, nice! Goes straight down to the deep note as well. This, again, this is very much of a sound. And, you know, I say this sometimes, you get certain songs where you can really tell what sound they're going for. They're clearly trying to evoke a certain palette, a certain timbre. And along with any timbre, any particular musical sound you go for, there will be certain stereotypes. And you can either use them in a copy-paste way, or you can use them in an endearingly fun way. And to me, this song had a lot of callbacks. It had a certain sound that was kind of old-fashioned, big, beautiful. It was like a stage performance kind of song. And yet it did it with a flair that I think is, again, rather a calling card of Mrs. Green Apple's writing, is that even when they're referencing things, they do it with a certain flair and certain sound that seems to be uniquely of their own. And to me, this song, just had a quality that I wanted to describe using the word twee. And I know twee, I've found out in recent years that twee is a word that outside of people who speak English, if you speak American English, you might not have even heard this word, but it kind of refers to something which is old-fashioned and quaint, but in a way that has a quality to it. So some people might describe something as twee in a negative way, but I think as a general, twee is actually kind of used in a kind of a tongue-in-cheek, you say it with a smile. Like, yeah, it's a bit old-fashioned, but it's kind of got a quality. It's got a charm to it. This is why I say the word charming. So, yes, so much of what this song does, you've got the big strings and the clarinet and everything. It's very, very kind of evocative of a very old-fashioned kind of sound. But it does it with this charm. And I think, again, it works because Omari's got the voice to pull off that kind of dramatic falsetto style of singing when necessary to imbue the songs with that extra layer of kind of dramatic showmanship quality, whilst also at the same time sounding like he's singing in a sincere and emotionally honest kind of way. Now, obviously, this is the kind of song that for some people it might be too twee. They might listen to it and go, that's very old-fashioned. But I don't know, I kind of have to say that once again, this is a song that makes a lot of sense because of its position on the album. I said at the beginning of this video that, of course, when you go into album tracks, a lot of the time what you're listening for is the sort of song that a band wouldn't necessarily put front and centre, a sort of song that a band wouldn't necessarily say, this is what we want you to think is our style of music, but instead something that, if you're already a fan, you can listen to and go, I like that. I like that you did that. And for me, that's where this song belongs. And I think it does therefore make a great album track. It's different from anything we've heard thus far. It's kind of different from anything I think we heard in the Mrs. Green Apple catalogue thus far. And when I say that, obviously I'm trying to exclude the fact that we have heard the two most recent albums. And I'm just thinking chronologically of the songs that have come before this. I do think this song feels quite unique by that standard as well. So this would have been a song that for a long-time Mrs. Green Apple fan, when hearing this, you'd have been like, wow, that's fresh, that's different. I never heard them do something like that before. So, yeah, this definitely was a track that was brimming with charm. Now, I just did a little check, and I'll tell you for why. I paused the video to do a check because this was one of those songs that I know some people will hate me for saying this, but listening through the lyrics, they felt a little bit generic to me. So I thought I would look them up and just double check what they were about before saying anything. And I gotta be honest, yes, the lyrics do feel in line with it having a slightly show tune vibe in that I would say, yes, they were a teeny bit generic. Yeah, the sort of lyrics where you can really impose yourself upon them. You know, you can hear them and they can mean to you whatever you want them to mean. Obviously, I'm not saying the lyrics have to be hyper specific, but this doesn't really feel like a song where it's necessarily giving you too much more than just a platform on which to project whatever simple kind of emotions about, you know, general feelings of sadness and thinking of introspectively about life and loss and various things. Those are kind of the areas where you can imprint yourself upon the song, and that again plays into what I think this is. It's a song that isn't really trying to play to inspire any sort of new sound so much as just kind of do something classic, something with a classy classic vibe. And that is where I think, once again, I do think this song works. 5 minutes 30 definitely doesn't feel like 5 minutes 30. Again, a strong quality for a song like this. I do love the build up, as I mentioned when it was playing. I love the fact that the snare is restrained so long. This song is allowed to breathe with all this beautiful choral vocals and the strings, and everything is allowed to just build up and play out, and the drum beat really holds back so that it can be the glorious sign towards the end that now we're getting going. You know? And so the fact that even when it comes in the second verse, when we actually go to actually start having a snare and a full beat, that beat is sort of broken, stop, and then comes back in, and then stop. You know, I like the fact that it's broken up there. So even there, you get like a real feeling that the beat slowly builds as the song goes on, and until the end when we get a full-on sound. And one last thing I will add, I did mention when it was playing about the fact I'm happy there was no breakdown at the beginning of the last chorus. I spoke a moment ago about how this song does so many of the things that we expect in a charming way. But one of the other qualities that to me just again shows that it's not a song that's just being churned out, it's a song that's really been thought about, is that I've said before that the breakdown at the beginning of the last chorus is one of the quintessential stereotypes of Japanese music. As much as I love Japanese music, there are certain stereotypes that come up, and one of them is the last chorus. Always you build up and everything breaks down, and then it comes in. What I really liked here is that they didn't do that. Yes, it does sort of, the final note of the bridge does stretch out, but the chorus itself comes in full force. And I felt this, when we were in the bridge, I felt like, yeah, this song is building momentum. It can't, a breakdown would ruin it. A breakdown would just sound too lazy and stereotypical. The song needs to run with the momentum it has. And I loved the fact that it ran into that last chorus and blasted in, because I have heard songs before where they've stereotypically done the breakdown at the beginning of the last chorus and it's just killed the momentum, and I thought, you just did that because it was the thing you're supposed to do. So, yeah, credit to Aomori again for... this is the sort of thing I can imagine lots of other artists would have put that breakdown in there and killed the momentum. Credit to him, he didn't do that. He just let the song run into its last chorus, full power, and give you that big crescendo that we were, I think, looking for. Anyway, as always, those are my thoughts. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. The next song we're going to be checking out, I love the name of. It's called Woo Woo Woo. And until I see you either in any of the videos, in the comments, in that next video, in the Discord, wherever it may be. Until then, for now, ciao, ciao.